Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope you are doing well. I hope you had a great day. If you live around here and you saw that gorgeous, gorgeous rainbow tonight, wow, was it amazing? And if you don't live around here or didn't see it, I posted a picture tonight. It was super cool. It was it's probably the most vibrant rainbow I've seen in a long time, and it was a double rainbow. It was super cool. My daughters and I were just standing. My son was already sleeping; he missed it, but the girls and I were just standing outside. It was raining, and you could hear the thunder. But we were just sitting out there sort of just admiring it because it was really gorgeous until we were getting wet and then we had to go inside. But it was really pretty and really cool. And it just reminds me, when I see things like that, of just how amazing this world is and how amazing God is. And, in Judaism, we look at the rainbow as the reminder of the covenant that, God will never destroy us again. And which is really powerful. And it was a good teachable moment for my kids because, they don't think of rainbows that way. But it was gorgeous. So if you don't live in Michigan or in, this area of Michigan and didn't see it, I mean, people were posting from that live 20 miles away from me, posting pictures of it as well. So it was just huge and vibrant. But if you don't live around here or you didn't see it, definitely hop on my Facebook page and you can see it from earlier. But what I want to talk about tonight is the idea of the domino effect. If you're on here live, give me a hashtag live. And if you pick this up on a replay, let me know with hashtag replay. And if you've ever heard of the domino effect, or sometimes I call it the butterfly effect. Similar concepts, let me know in the comments, if you've heard of this and what you think of it. But it's really, really a really powerful concept. And I actually talked about this a little bit in our trip to Disney, and even sort of reflecting afterwards. But I wanted to go more in depth tonight to talk about it and really how powerful this is. So what is the domino effect, right? Have you ever played dominoes, right? So dominoes, you line them all up. You maybe make crazy shapes with them, whatever, and you knock one over, and it starts a chain reaction of all kinds of things that didn't happen and knock them all over, right? My kids in fourth grade, so 2 out of 3 of my kids so far have done this, had to make Rube Goldberg machines, right? Same kind of concept. One thing happens, you start one thing, and it's this chain reaction of all these things that are going to happen to end somewhere, right? But in life, with that domino effect or the butterfly effect, right, in a Rube Goldberg machine or when you're playing when you're building dominoes, it stops, right? You run out of dominoes, you run out of things to knock over. But in real life, things don't stop. That chain reaction continues and continues and continues. And that's so powerful because we don't know where that's going to go. And when we think about that in our life, and when we think about that with every single thing that we do, it's really just sort of mind-blowing and mind-boggling, right? So anything that we do has a ripple effect, right? So I'm going to take it from the positive perspective, right? You're standing in a coffee shop and the person behind you looks like they're having a rough day, and you pay it forward, right? You pay for their coffee, and you don't know, and you walk out of the store, right? You've paid for their coffee, but you've started that ripple effect, right? That may completely brighten their day, right? And they may say, wow, and then they go on and do something nice for somebody else. And then they go on and something else and something else and something else. And this ripple effect continues on. And we don't even know where that goes, right? We have no idea where that goes. And it just can be such a positive thing to go through, right? I was actually reading, I'm in a Disney group, shocker, with all my trips to Disney, right? And somebody was asking, if you've ever been to Disney, they've got those big balloons, right? That are the clear balloons with the Mickey shaped balloon inside. And somebody said, we bought one of these balloons. But I don't have a way to get it home, right? Which is the same thing that I said to my kids when they would say, can we get a balloon? And I said, no, we're not spending $14 on a balloon because we can't get it home on the plane, right? And so they said, what do people do with your balloons if you can't get them home? And people started saying, well, we pay it forward. We hand it to another kid at the resort or at the park or whatever to make them smile. And that's huge. And then one person chimed in on this thread and said that they took a Sharpie and wrote on the back of it, please let us know if you received this balloon, right? So they passed it to a family, and that family passed it on, and that family passed it on. She said they got 7 messages from different people that had received this balloon and how much they loved it and how it brightened their kid's day, right? How cool is that? Butterfly effect, right? Domino effect. We don't know, and all in that we're hearing is what they reported, but we don't know where else that went with it, right? We don't know how else those things played out in a positive way and what that did for maybe for that kid, right? Those kids that got that balloon passed onto them, they're going to remember that forever, right? That some nice person gave them this awesome balloon and then they were able to pass it on to somebody else. So cool. But the domino effect can also work in the negative, right? And I don't like to dwell on the negative, but I want to talk about it a little bit because it's also powerful. Because, if something happens that's negative and it starts that negative chain of events, right, it can really spiral us off and it can really put us in a bad mood and bring us down and just be in the wrong way, right, where when something happens in the positive and it gets paid forward and rolls out, it has positive effects. But when something happens in the negative, it can send negative effects. So as a stress eater, I'm going to talk about it in this idea, right? As a stress eater, you get really stressed out, and what happens? You hit the refrigerator. What can happen to me? I hit the refrigerator, right? And I start eating things I shouldn't eat, or the pantry, and I start eating things that I shouldn't eat. And then what happens? I don't feel well. I feel gross because I've eaten things I shouldn't eat, right? I feel depressed because I didn't stick to my plan. I feel, right? And I have all these bad feelings that go along with it, right? And then what happens? Because I feel those feelings, my kids come along and I'm a grumpy mess. My husband comes along and I'm a grumpy mess, right? And then what happens? It sets them into a grumpy mess and on and on and on and on and on, right? Same domino effect. And that is really thinking about that. And when we recognize that, we have the power to stop that domino, right? Good or bad, we have this power to stick our hand in there and stop them from falling, right? Shove them out of the way, those that have fallen, and start over. And that is where this is really powerful. As humans, right, we have that ability to jump in and stop that course of action if we catch it in its tracks and shift it to something positive, right? So if we're in that course of action where, say, I've had a really bad day and I'm stress eating, right? And I go and I eat something and then I feel lousy and I get up the next day and I feel lousy because I had blown it the night before, because it tends for me happen at night, right after everybody's in bed. And I catch myself being cranky with my kids, right? Because maybe I didn't get enough sleep. Maybe I ate something I shouldn't have eaten and the scale is showing that morning. Whatever it is, I'm cranky, I catch myself and I stop. I got to stop those dominoes from falling over before I pass that negative on to somebody else. Or if I catch myself passing that negative on, because it happens, definitely happens, right? And then I have to rein it in. And then I have to say, you know what? I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry. And pull it back in and then make it right to start that domino effect in the positive. And that's what we have the ability to do. We have the ability to reset it and to rein it back, new game of dominoes. But once it goes, and once we start pulling other people in a negative way, sometimes we can't control it. And that's one thing that I really sort of work with my kids a lot on, right? You guys always see our smiling morning pictures. I can tell you we are not always smiling in the morning, right? But I get them to smile for the camera. Why do I get them to smile for the camera? Because I know how many people come to me and say, I love seeing your smiling kids in the morning. It really brightens my day. I hear it from people all the time. Some people comment on the pictures. Some people private message me. And I've shown that to my kids and said, guys, look at this. Even if you're in a crabby mood, when you put on your game face, right, and show a smile to the world, you are helping to brighten someone else's day. And you're starting that domino effect in the positive, right? But not only is it starting the domino effect in the positive to help other people, it brightens them up, right? I talked about this last week when I was talking about the idea of fake it till you make it, right? You put on a smile even if you're not feeling it, because once you can start smiling and can start laughing, right, it changes. And we can change our mood and we can shift our mood and we can shift that domino effect. One of the things around here that we do, it sort of became a joke. My daughter was melting down at one point, and she was angry. I don't know what she was angry. Who knows? This was a while ago. She was angry about something. She was angry with me. I don't know what I did to her. I was the meanest mom in the world, right? Or, hello, moms. Raise your hand if you've been the meanest mom in the world. But meanest mom in the world for some reason, and she was angry with me. And I looked at her and I said, "You want to fight?" And she went, "What?" I said, "You want to fight?" And I jumped up out of my chair and I put my fists up to, and she was like, "What?" Because she was throwing punches around. I was like, "Okay, come on, bring it." I, of course, was not going to hit my daughter. But, we started sort of doing the dance around, and I grabbed her and I started tickling her, right? And I was like, "Ha ha, I won," right? And I got her on the floor laughing hysterically. And it sort of has become a joke that when she gets into a mood, or actually when any of my kids get into mood now, right, we'll jump up and say, "You want to fight?" Right? And it ends up, the goal is that they have to avoid me until I can, or Micha, depending on who they're fighting with, but they usually want to fight with me. And my goal is to get them into, where I'm tickling them and they're laughing on the floor, and it changes the mood. It shifts that domino effect, right? Because if the mood spirals out of control, one kid melts down. Hey, Francie. One kid melts down and starts having a rough time. Generally, not always, but quite frequently, somebody else is not far behind. And then the third is not far behind. And then I'm angry and Micha's angry, and it's all of us are melting down, and it's just not pretty. I know you guys probably can't see that from me because I don't put that on Facebook, but it's reality, right? It's real, and we're real here. But, but when we can shift that, when we can say, I'm stopping that trigger, that domino effect in its tracks, we can make a big impact. So really that's something that I focus on, and I try to help my kids focus on, but it's for me mostly. I try to focus on when I catch myself in that negative trend, how am I going to stop it? How am I going to shift it to the positive so that the things that follow through and what goes down the line, the energy that I put out there is positive. So, and it's hard to do. It's really, really, really hard to do, but it's so important. That's how we shift our life. That's how we shift our life. And it ties into stop, challenge, choose, right? I mean, I've talked about stop, challenge, choose before. Stop, challenge, choose fits into every single aspect of our lives, right? When something is going on, we stop, we think about it, we really evaluate what's going on, and we make a decision. What's the right decision? And when we see things spiraling in the wrong way, that's what we have to do. We have to stop, challenge, choose, whether it's about food, whether it's about our emotions and our reactions to things, whether it's about, staying up too late, right? Whatever it is, everything in our lives comes down to stop, challenge, choose. And that is so powerful when we are catching ourselves in this domino effect. And that's my challenge to myself, is every single day, when I start my day, which way do I want the dominoes to fall for the day? Do I want them to fall positive and send off a positive vibe to everybody? Or do I want to send them off in the wrong way into a negative vibe? And sometimes we do it, accidentally one way or the other. Usually it's, sometimes, a lot of times it's in the negative, it's accidental, right? We're tired, we're cranky, we're whatever. But it's learning to recognize it and learning to fix it if we are going into the negative. So I hope you have a great night. I hope that maybe this gets you to think a little bit about how, you can shift and how your actions ripple out and play out differently, every day, and how they can affect other people. Because once we recognize that, again, we can make this world so much of a better place if we just start to pay attention to our own actions. Sorry, got a text there. We can make such a difference if we just start to pay attention to our own actions, right? And make sure that we are sending that domino effect in the right way every single day. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful night. I will be back here tomorrow night, and we'll chat then. And if you have questions, I would love to hear your feedback. But if you have questions, you know how to reach me. Talk to you later. Bye.